Hello and welcome. Today we won our match and I'm gonna show you my game. I have my score sheet, it's right here. And today I played with the black pieces. And I played, after d4, I played b6. Which I don't usually play, but this was my preparation. And my opponent deviated pretty early. I was prepared for c4, but my opponent played knight f3. So I went for a pretty slow system with d6, taking control of e5. After castle kingside, knight d7, closing the diagonal and taking more control over e5. Rook e1, not the most critical probably, a6, preventing the bishop from coming to b5. And knight b d2 and knight e7. I don't want to put the knight on f6 because I don't want to allow e5 with tempo. And after a4, I played knight g6, protecting the diagonal and sometimes jumping to f4. After knight f1, I played bishop e7, preparing to castle kingside. c3, creating the pawn chain. Castle kingside. Knight g3. Rook e8, opening up the square for different piece maneuvers. h3 came, creating air for the king. c5. Now I am starting to fight for the center. Bishop e3, logical move. Putting some pressure here. Queen c7, increasing my control. And then knight h2. So white is planning to attack on the king side. And now I found my counterplay with queen c6. The idea is that if white plays knight g4, I'm gonna play f5. And if the pawn takes, I'm gonna checkmate on g2. And if d5, I'm gonna capture it. And then I'm gonna play d4, threatening mate. Bishop e4, I'm gonna play d5. If g6, I was thinking to take on e3. And it looks really unclear, but it should be dangerous for white to play this, but it looks a bit unclear. I didn't analyze this deeply, but probably black should have compensation here. This did not happen. White played queen e2, and the difference is that if I play f5, then white plays d5, takes bishop c4, and the queen is pinned to the king. So instead, I played bishop h4. And the idea is that if the f-pawn moves, then the knight is gonna hang. And sometimes I can put the knight on f6, and then the pawn will hang after I take on g3. Knight h5 was a strong move. Now the queen is coming to g4. For example, if I would play d5, then e5 takes d4, queen g4 takes, rook takes. And I think this position is worse for black, because as soon as this bishop gets activated, I think it's worse for black, but okay, I might be wrong, but that was my opinion during the game. So I decided to trade this knight for this knight. Seemed like a good trade to me. b4. So the idea is to kick my queen from c6. For example, if I play d5, then b5 comes. And I cannot take because I will lose an exchange on e8. So I put the rook here to avoid this diagonal. b5 came, I captured. I played queen e8 to put it on the first rank, supporting the rook exchanges that will follow. Knight g4 came, threatening to capture here, bishop e7. Oh yeah, now my opponent decided to play c4 to prevent c4, protect this pawn. Very solid move. I went for the rook exchange. Queen d1 to keep the diagonal to h5 in case I play h5. Queen b8 to prepare the rook a7 queen a8 maneuver to fight for the a file. And d5, locking down this diagonal, locking down my bishop. Very solid move again. I decided to play for the a file. Bishop d2, also good move. Queen a8, bishop c3, protecting the rook. Now I want to activate my bishop, so I put it on c8. White captured on e6 and played knight e3. Planning to jump somewhere. Here I was thinking for a while and I decided to play a bit tougher move. Knight f4. Hitting the bishop. The idea, if white would play bishop f1, I would have taken a1. I would take here. I would go down to g6. And I would take on h3 and f2. I think this is good for black, so white doesn't want to play this. So instead, white exchanged rooks and played knight d5, which I think is correct. Hitting two pieces. I exchange with the bishop. I was calculating queen g4, but I think this shouldn't be a problem for black after knight g6. But white took here. Actually, white offered a draw here, but I didn't want to have a draw because I thought I had some ideas here to play for. Queen d2 came, and now I actually realized in the game that if I play bishop g5, white is gonna play queen e1, threatening here. And if I protect this somehow, maybe king f8, white can play bishop f1, and I was not sure how good my knight was gonna become, so I took the bishop. I gave one check, then I put my bishop here, and the reason is because if I would have checked here, then queen g3, threatening g7. And I was thinking that maybe I have to exchange queens here. I didn't want to exchange queens. So I played bishop f8. Queen d2 came, queen f1, threatening the pawn. Queen f4, protecting these two. Queen d3. And the problem with the bishop is that it doesn't really have so many squares that are protected by a pawn. So it could get to e3, I guess, but otherwise it's unprotected. You have to always protect it with the queen. Bishop b2, creating some air for my king. Queen c1, queen e2. King g1, queen d3. King h2, queen e4. Queen c3. Oh shit, sorry. Queen c3. Oh no. Come on. Queen g6. Queen d2, queen e4. Queen c3, and now I decided to change the pawn structure with h5. King g1, queen e2. Bishop a1, queen d1 check, king h2, queen f1. I'm not sure if queen f1 was correct. Maybe I should have played h4 first to prevent king g3. And if bishop b2, then maybe queen f1 would be better, but I'm not sure. I played queen f1 in the game, king g3. I checked with the pawn. But the problem to put the pawn here is that the bishop cannot use that square later in the game. I gave a check and I went here. This was correct. f3 was correct. So now I think black doesn't have any winning chances really. Queen b1 came. Queen d1. Queen d3. Queen f5. Queen b1. Queen g6. Queen c2. Queen b1. Bishop e7. And I didn't find anything better than go back. Queen a2. Queen a4. Queen a7. Queen a2. And finally, I decided to change the pawn structure with f6, preventing the checkmate here. Now I can move the bishop finally, but it's still blocked by all these pawns, so my bishop is not great right now. King f7. Queen b1. Queen g6. Threatening to get to e6, queen c2. And now I didn't find anything better than to exchange, because If I go here, white is gonna go here, and I think I have to exchange queens anyway. So I decided to exchange on e2. I think this is just a very drawish position. Protecting the pawn. g3 takes, putting pressure on d6, but I have a defender here. King g6, trying to come up on e4, going back again. And here I offer draw. Okay, white could try to play king e3 and f4, hoping to create an h-pawn, but I don't have to take on f4. In fact, I can even play g4. And if white plays h4, then this bishop is not great anymore. So but I'm not sure if black can try to win this, but okay, maybe black can try something like king g6 and then f5 and king h5 and take this pawn. So white should not play, because if white takes on g4, this is risky, because then I put my bishop on h6 and I can create some kind of Zugzwang and win this pawn. So that's why white should not try anything like that. White should just wait with the king and take the draw. So I have a draw, and we agreed on a draw. So that was my game from today. Thank you for watching, and see you after the next round.